representative from some key political parties. At least the parties, people have indicated that they want to represent their interests, and the voices, as one would say, of various candidates. And in many ways, more than one, you find it quite interesting to follow through on. But this time, let's take on the headlines as we have them across the nation. The stories that are leading the way are here now. It's 6:30 a.m. Nigerian time, Wednesday, the 15th day of February, 2023.
Nothing breaks the news like the news. Trust me, I can prove it. I'm ready. Let's take on the biggest debates on radio, provide insights, experience, and build an unforgettable discussion together. I'm Femi D.
Welcome to the headline review for today. This very morning, we ask of you to follow through with us as we bring you some of the biggest stories across the papers. Do remember, the stories have been published under the editorial guide of various publishers, and we on Nigeria Info are only informing you at this time of the headlines as we have them for today. Let's review some of the biggest stories as we have them from the likes of Leadership newspaper, Daily Trust newspaper, This Day newspaper, The Nation, and The Guardian. Starting up with the Leadership newspaper for today. Anxiety as Supreme Court hears suit on Naira swap policy today. Elections must hold in the Southeast, Northern elders tell federal government. Marketers seek customs CG's arrest over 1.56 billion naira tankers auction. Mba seeks Catholic and Methodist supports to make Enugu great. GOCs, commanders get marching orders on peaceful election. COVID-19, Tokyo reports 2,232 new cases. Oshibajo inaugurates National Development Steering Committee. EU, UN, 6 United Front against GBV in Nigeria. Coup allegation, Fani Kayode should apologize to me, and also the military, says article. Senator Nnamani insists Tinubu has political will to deliver. Kano Labour Guba candidate defection to APC, a ruse, says Labour Party. Deputy Guba substitution creates tension in Abia over PDP, in Abia PDP rather. Ango, Ezeife Adebajo orders unveil book postulating Obi's presidency. Desist from abusive campaign, Unakolo tells politicians. All right, well, these are some of the leading stories as we have them from the Leadership newspaper for today. Let's take on another set of stories at this time from the Daily Trust. Supreme Court Georges hear governor's suit on old Naira notes. The live coverage will be on. That's something to follow through about. We'll see. Many of you recall that the Attorney General of the Federation also filed an objection challenging the jurisdiction of the court to entertain the motion contending that under Section 25, subsection 1, A, P, Q, and R of the Constitution, only the Federal High Court has the exclusive jurisdiction on such matters. IPOB, silence by Southeast leaders disturbing, says Northern elders. Ogun governor threatens to show down banks rejecting old notes. NEC okays plan to reduce poor Nigerians to 2.1 by 2015. Lagos PDP petitions DSS, others over attacks. Buhari inaugurates Transition Council, says my achievements must be preserved. Kwara APC suspends secretary. Other stories, police take over CBN office in Ondo as angry bank customers lay siege. February 10 deadline on old Naira note stands, Emefiele. Old Naira notes no more legal tender, says CBN. Banks ignore Supreme Court, reject old Naira notes. Also of interest, 492 illegal vessels arrested, says Defense Minister. NEC endorses Nigeria Agenda 2050. More oil discovery in Obi as NAPC Nasarawa government sign MOU. Over 5,000 debtors owe federal government 5.2 trillion naira. Federal government sensitizes stakeholders on hibiscus exports compliance agreement. All right, well, these are stories as you find them in Daily Trust. Let's move on now and take a look at stories from this day. Buhari hails party on appointment as Gavi chairman, or as Gavi member now. Not too sure what the exact title is. 2023 election. This day editorial board do put up an article about that. Presidency. Federal government, CBN to take position. Kyari, that's a position on the Naira situation. That's whether to maintain currency or to exchange. But that was published about 4 a.m. this morning. Kyari says energy demand in Nigeria orders to increase by 35 in 20 years. Buhari appeals to UAE president to lift visa ban on Nigerians. Call to hear final forfeiture of Patience Jonathan's 5.8 million and 2.4 billion naira on March 28. Other stories, as you find them, in the likes of this day for today. At Imo rally, Sanwo-Olu drums support for Tinubu. Namani taking bullets for supporting Tinubu. All right, well, these are some of the stories. You may have to read up more. I wish the headlines were more explicit, easy to read than it is come up on this day. But anyway, let's move on. The Nation now. Liga giants knock MFLA for disrespecting Supreme Court. Tinubu will deliver as president, Buhari tells supporters at Imo rally. We are working to rescue Nigerians from economic saboteurs, says Gbajabiamila. How we change the narrative on $9.6 billion PNID judgment suit by Lai Mohammed. Our achievement must be preserved, says President. Nigerian fintechs and the cashless policy. Why DSS invited Fani Kayode, spokesman, speaks about this. Naira crisis. Where do the presidential candidates stand? All right, then, you would also find 2023 poll, the North will back APC to win. Group decries worsening socioeconomic situation. Dairy critics are not in tune with reality. When Kashim Shettima puts his life online for his people. Experts canvasses regular pensions. 20-year-old to die for robbery. Teacher gets life imprisonment for defiling pupil. 7 die in Niger accident. All right, well, these are stories you can read up from The Nation for today. Let's go on now and read from The Guardian. From The Guardian, CSOs march for removal of Bawa as EFCC chairman. U.S. insists no preferred candidate in the 2023 elections. Court remands actress over alleged abuse of new Naira notes. Jos, 2 killed at drinking joint. Paramount ruler's son abducted. Banks risk run on as citizens await Supreme Court's intervention. Local airlines debunk access to subsidized fuel as Jet A1 sells at 800 naira per litre. And then Coman scores winner as Bayern edge PSG in first leg of Champions League tie. Lagos test runs Blue Rail 53-year-old man orders relief experience of forced train ride. Troops kill 8 Boko Haram suspects in Borno. Hunters kill 2. New CP vows to deal with criminals in Lagos. Resident doctors defy strike, says 50% of demands met by federal government. All right, well, these are stories you can read up more about as we have them in The Guardian. Well, many thanks for listening. Those would have to be the headlines as we have them for today. As you would read up from The Guardian, The Nation, This Day, Daily Trust, and Leadership newspaper. Do remember, the stories have been published under the editorial guide of various publishers, and we on Nigeria Info have only informed you of the headlines as we have them for today.
This is Morning Crossfire.
We'd like to take your calls on this very morning, but we ask of you to follow through with our editorial guide. Your calls need to be devoid of hateful speech, lies, fake news, and abuses. We ask of you to be truthful and factual as you share with us on Nigeria Info. We plead with you to keep your emotions in check as you speak to issues on the ground this very morning. Let's take your calls on 0700 951 0000. You can also call in on the alternative line on 080 95 97 4869. That's 080 95 97 4869. And on the WhatsApp portal, it's 080 999 30137.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
All right, at this time, we ask of you, those who are not streaming on YouTube, please go ahead and stream. And if you're on Facebook, please do the same. It's always interesting to read your comments as you write them in every single day. Oh, we have comments coming in on YouTube already with regards to the headlines for today. So go on, do the same, write your comment. It'll be a delight to read what you think of the situation this very morning. We'll be following through with all this as the stories continue to break on and make sense of the situation on ground for today. All right, let's take some of your calls this very morning. Good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome.
My name is Charles. I'm calling from Besiege.
John.
Northern Elders said that the election must hold in the South East. The question I want to ask, why is the Northern Elders so interested on what happens in the East? If you compare it to the banditry ravaging the whole of the North, on Sunday, 4 policemen were killed in Niger State, near Abuja here, and so many things. At the beginning of this agitation, people like us said, discussion, Georgia is usually the best approach. People were even begging the government should sit down. They said no, they can't talk with anybody. But I have come to realize that even in conflict resolution, the money that the government, you remember there was a time they said they have spent how many million to stop Radio Biafra and all of that. Those Radio Biafra is still running till today. If they have invested what they are using to fight IPOB, by night that agitation would have died naturally.
Okay.
If they have invested those things in the things that are making people to say, why are you treating us unfair? In the East, I tell you, things would have been better.
All right, thank you, John.
The government kept fighting.
Thank you.
I tell you,
Thank you. All right, it's a very intense morning, so please, let's keep it short, okay? Keep it brief so that we can accommodate as many calls as we can. Good morning to you. Thank you for your time.
Nothing breaking news like the news.
All right, welcome.
My name is Salasi.
Welcome, Selassie.
I want to commend our Nigerian army. 492 illegal vessels are arrested. Who are the owner of these illegal vessels? Please, Nigerians want to know. Not destroying them like the other one that they caught the other time. They decided to destroy it. No, Nigerians want to know who are the people stealing our crude. Who are the oil thieves in this country? 492 illegal vessels arrested.
Okay.
Group killed 8 Boko Haram in Borno. I want to say kudos to our Nigerian army.
All right,
and I
then.
want to say and repent to God.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Good morning to you. Welcome to the show. Oh, that doesn't stay true. All right, let's give this a try. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Femi D.
Welcome, sir.
Okay, my name is Jafaru.
Welcome, Jafar.
Okay, I'll go straight to the point. The Supreme Court to decide on the governors versus the central bank and the federal government.
It's the federal government. The CBN was not listed as a defendant, and I think that's the gap that happened in the law and the technicalities.
Whatsoever there is the issue of change of naira, is it not it?
Yes, it is, but that's why the CBN.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So I want to go straight to the point. Some people are saying that a particular court or a particular bank is not subject to the interpretation of the law of the Nigerian people. But you have to understand that the central bank does not have sovereignty, even though they are talking that it has independence. So anything under the sun under Nigeria is subject to the interpretation of the court, not even the Supreme Court, but any court in Nigeria. That is one. The second issue is that we don't have to suffer before we do the right thing. Do you understand, Femi? We don't have to suffer in this country before we produce the next good president. Do you understand?
Yes, I
do.
do.
Suffer for nothing.
All right. My brother, thank you. Thank you for your viewpoint.
We can suffer for nothing.
Thank you.
So there is no need for us to suffer, for us to produce.
Thank you for your time. Like I pleaded with everybody, and I will still continue to plead. Let's remember it's a very tense morning. So keep the calls brief. There are a lot of people waiting to use the phone lines. But the CBN was not listed as a defendant. And I think that was where the gap started off. And they were able to proceed as they have with the action that they have thus far. Good morning to you.
Hello, family. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
My name is Emmanuel Ochare for the Freedom Wheeler.
All right, then. Welcome, sir.
Family, the man elder saying that the election must hold in the Southeast. The interest of the mother elder in Southeast cannot be, we don't need to criticize it because it is a Nigeria affair. And once it is Nigeria affair, every president in Nigeria will have interest in what happens anywhere. But the question I'm asking is this. The northern leader moved down where to find out what is the real cause of a problem in Southeast. The answer is not simple marginalization. And then solve the marginalization problem against the Southeast. Every other problem will settle by itself.
Okay.
They don't do and pretend as if they do not know what is happening in that place.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you for your time. Good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Dr. Femi D.
Good morning.
Yes, how was the night, Dr. Femi D?
Just there. Thank God. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I think the sound came out first.
Tough times it is.
Yes, it is.
So, I wanted to ask, are there no consequences for disobeying court orders in Nigeria? Are there no consequences? And who are the people that are in place to administer these consequences or these sanctions or whatever we may call it? Because how can the federal government and the Supreme and the CBN disobey a court order of the highest, the apex court, Supreme Court? So I don't understand what is happening. And nobody gets punished, nothing happens. This is not the first time people are disobeying court orders. If you remember, recently, they sued, they sentenced chief of police to the court, to prison, and chief of army staff to prison for disobeying court orders. And even that one, nothing happened. We haven't heard anything about it till today. So what's happening in this country now? Are some people bigger than the law?
All right. Thank you so much, dear friend. Yeah. So I think the intention of getting this under control was really good, but also there were gaps in the filing, and there were gaps in the filing along the lines of trying to do this. For example, when you get a court injunction that says, oh, I want the old Naira notes to extend beyond February 10. What that means is your injunction says February 10. So if you get to February 11, if they choose to extend, or if they extend further, they can extend by 1 minute. They can extend by 2 hours. Once you move past February 10, that's one gap. Second gap, So it's a case of federal government, state governors versus the federal government. The CBN was not listed as a defendant. That's another gap. Third gap is, so is a federal high court, is it still within the jurisdiction of the federal high court to entertain this? Did it go through the ranks of issues? And then the Supreme Court, by the way, what they interpreted and brought forward was an injunction on that. They have not ruled. The ruling will be today. So it's based on that ruling that you say, oh, this person completely disregarded everything. An injunction is like saying, don't allow that child to come inside till February 10 is over. You know? Don't allow that child come inside. And somebody stands at the door. And then the child comes in on February 12th. And you're wondering, why did the child come inside? And I say, well, sir, you said you should not allow this child to come in. You did not say that this other child cannot come in. You did not say that, for example, the CBN, in this case, was the child of the government, cannot do this or cannot do that. So there were gaps in that. And that's why you would hear the other governors as well trying to join the suit. Kano government sued in Underlights. Ondo government is trying to sue that. They want to be joined. And the gaps that there were are what they are trying to come on board in this particular litigation. And there were gaps. And that is where the issue is. So technically, some will say they've disobeyed court order. Then technically, the government will also tell you, but the Supreme Court has not ruled. They've only created an injunction. It's just a stop order. But they have no rule to say, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that again. So these are things that sometimes it's funny. The law can be very... I was speaking with a lawyer about this, and that was his own version. I know there will be other lawyers with another point of view on this, but I mean, it makes sense somehow, and it's also very troubling about the kind of sense that it has made. I'd like to read some of your comments. Let's read some of them as we have them now. Mwazu John Lassisi says, good morning, FMD. No going back on Naira policy by Emefiele. I support him 100%, though I'm also going through the tough time, but it's for a short period, he writes. Tunji TJ says, Femi, this your mustache looks like that of someone with plenty new notes. Good morning. Amen. I have plenty new notes. That's what I would say. Amos Gani says, good morning, Femi. The Naira redesign policy is causing more harm than good. If that's what we have, the urban areas can't get the new notes. How about those in the village? The policy is done in error. Ishaku Daku says, good morning, Femi. I guess your night was good. This is Azaya from Sakau Airport Road. Femi Emefiele did not honor the Supreme Court, and this is a problem we're facing from this government. Salawu Ayodele says, good morning, Femi. Can the governor withdraw bank's license? No, but he can withdraw the C over, which is the land in which the bank is on. Can you imagine that? When they come to you to say, move your building, the land is mine. As you already know, land jurisdiction in every state belongs to the state. So they can withdraw the bank's license, even though there are other paperwork they file with the state government, and they can put pressure on them. But the biggest asset the state governors have is to say, I can withdraw your C of O, and then surely enough, you would have to move your building. Hi, FMD, you're doing well. More grace to your elbow. Rosemary Adejo says, good morning, FMD. We, the everyday Nigerians, can't even buy a loaf of bread to feed our children because of this Naira redesign. Ogurombi also writes, he says, good morning, FMD. How many times have you seen Buhari respect the court? They should not disturb themselves today. Judgment will not be different. The times we are in with Buhari is so tough, he writes. All right, thanks for that. On Facebook, our friends, also Francis Naman is watching from Enugu. He says, Pestalicious morning from here. Prior to the hike in petrol pump price and scarcity of the new Naira notes, I'm calling on the federal government and the CBN to kindly do something urgently to salvage this situation. The average Nigerians are really suffering. Where are we going from here? May God help us. Also Francis from Amagunze in Enugu State. Onyeka also writes in, I want to read the remaining messages after the break. Stay with us right here on Nigerian for there's more to come. This is Morning Crossfire with FMD Live. Stay close.